Shelley Lavery here, and thank you for joining me today. This topic of when and where we start sales coaching, I'm really passionate about it, mainly because I believe this simple stuff that I'm about to share, I think can have the biggest impact on the teams we build. And it comes from my own experience of building teams. I've built teams that have been really heavily reliant on me in the day-to-day operation, where I've felt a real struggle, to be honest, just to keep my head above water. And I've built teams that have worked beautifully, whether I was in the trenches with them or not. And it gave me a choice whether I wanted to roll my sleeves up and dig in with the team or to take time to step back to think about the direction that we were going in. So when you think about coaching now, you might think about it as something that you have to do. Maybe you think about it as time marked out on your calendar to coach a member of your team, for example. Well, my goal of the next 10 minutes is to change how you think about coaching. So rather than thinking about it as something that you do, you begin to think of it as a way that you communicate with your team every single day. So we're going to cover 3 things: where we should start coaching and why ask, don't tell is harder than it sounds, and how we break a lifetime habit to start coaching every single day. So there are 5 key areas I think of that need coaching. There's the call and meeting reviews that we run with our sales reps, and in those we're really focused on developing sales skills. Then there's the behaviours of our reps. The behaviours that not only require reps to be great in sales, but also just to live the values of our company. Then there's the career development conversations that we have with our team, especially as we support them with their future career goals. And then right at the top, there's the personal lives of our team that we coach. And as we discover more about people's pasts, people's presents, it can really help us understand how we better support them. But right at the bottom of the diagram is the area that offers the most frequent coaching opportunities. I like to call it the daily roadblocks. I think that the most frequent coaching opportunities happen in the situations that your team find themselves in every single day just by doing their job. They're the things that cause your team just to get stuck in their flow. The daily roadblocks are coaching opportunities that will come to you in the form of a question. And so they might look something like this: Shelley, about that big deal I'm working on, the competitor has just halved their fees. Now the prospect's asking what we can do on price. What should I tell them? Or another example might be, Shelley, they've just added 5 people to tomorrow's invite for the sales pitch. Now I'm not sure what to do with the agenda. I think it's going to be a complete mess. What should I do? And now you have a choice. You can choose to give your rep the answer, or you can choose to coach them to discover the answer. And giving your rep the answer might seem like the best option at the time. Yes, you have the knowledge. You certainly want to protect the outcome, and it will be a hell of a lot faster just to offer up the answers. And in the short term, that's true. It would be quicker just to give someone direction in that moment, but not in the long term. When your sales rep hits a roadblock and they bring that problem to you, if you choose to solve it for them, you're now seen as their problem solver. So what happens? They hit another roadblock, they get stuck again, so they come to you for more help. You answer their next problem, and you continually reinforce your position as their problem solver. And as you do this, their dependency on you grows. You multiply that by a scenario of a number of reps, a huge number of roadblocks, and that choice to help someone quickly in the moment is now costing you time. That dependency your team has on you eats away at your time. Of course, the alternative is to choose not to give out answers and instead help your rep figure out the path forward by asking them questions, by coaching them through it so they're able to find the solution. And when that happens, it builds their confidence in their ability to come up with their own ideas, to problem solve. And it gives your reps the tools they need to self-coach through their daily roadblocks. And as a result, you build a team of independent thinkers. And there's the beauty of it. Firstly, these roadblocks, they happen regularly enough that they give us this opportunity to develop our coaching skills. And they help us form some coaching habits because they're happening every single day. And that can impact the other 4 coaching areas. But the best bit, I think, is that it's in these conversations where you're going to develop independence in your team. You're going to build their confidence little by little. And that independence just has a huge impact on how the team will operate when you're not in the room, and it will give you more choice over where you spend your time to help your team grow. However, coaching these moments is easier said than done because you're most likely dishing out answers at the moment, solving problems, and that's something that we need to just turn on its head. So let's go through how do we turn each daily roadblock into a coaching conversation with 3 simple questions to remember. So the difference between coaching a sales call, for example, or coaching a daily roadblock is that one is planned and the other one isn't. In a planned coaching conversation, it's natural that you can lead with open question. But when you're coaching the daily roadblocks, they're going to arrive to you unexpectedly in this I need help type question. And because these coaching opportunities are presented to us as questions, we immediately fall into the trap of wanting to answer them. And that's when answering them, when we solve problems, we miss that opportunity to coach completely. So we have to learn to take that question, that cry for help, and bat it back and turn it into a coaching conversation. And 2 things make that tricky. Firstly, since we started school, we've had it ingrained in us that when you get asked a question, you answer it. We're raised in a world that constantly tested our knowledge through question and answer. So it's a very, very well embedded habit to break. Secondly, questions trigger a mental reflex. It's called instinctive elaboration. And it basically means when we hear a question, we grab onto it with our minds and it is all we can think about. We become consumed with the answer and we find it impossible to think of anything else. So there's really 2 forces against us here. There's our experience and the way our brains are naturally function. So now you're aware of what's happening. The first step here is to train yourself to interrupt the instinct. The next time a team member comes to you in a sticky spot and they ask you a question, slow down and think, I'm going to interrupt my instincts. I'm going to bat this back to my rep. And this time, you reply with a question. I just want to share with you my favorite question in an example. So, Shelley, the client wants to cancel. They're a month into their contract. I don't know what to do. What should I tell them? And my response is, okay, sure. Well, first of all, can you just share what you're thinking with me? I've taken their question and I've batted it back. And now all that person can do is think about answering it. So it's going to take some practice, but now you're aware of it. Listen for the question. Have your response planned. You'll find that one response works for almost all roadblocks. Then one of 2 things is going to happen. There's a really good chance your rep will share with you a perfectly good idea to get out of the roadblock that they find themselves in. You'll probably be surprised how often that happens. Your reps are building their confidence and sometimes they just need reassurance more than they do help. And if that's the case, then brilliant. Congratulate them on their plan. Or they might share an idea with you that's close to being the right answer. And if they do that, maybe you just need to ask another couple of questions just to guide them to the correct solution. But either way, this has been a short conversation where the rep walks away feeling great about their own knowledge and their own ideas. Alternatively, they may not have any immediate ideas, so you might need to support them. So your second question needs to get the rep's head out of their problem where they feel really stuck and moved to the end result. A question like, what result are you after? Or where are you trying to get to? This is really helpful because your rep will be forced to stop thinking about what they're stuck on and see the light at the end of the tunnel. So now you have your 2 points on your coaching map. You have point A, where you are. You have point B, where you're trying to get to. Therefore, the next question is really easy. It's really natural in the conversation. You're going to ask a question that helps the rep explore how do they move from A to B. A question like, so what options do you have to get there? Now, notice I say what options, implying that there are more than one. If you ask, how do we get there? How is asking for one answer, which implies it's looking for the correct answer. Now your rep has the pressure of coming up with the perfect solution. And sometimes that's harder to know and it can make your rep feel stuck again. That's why I like to ask, what are the options? It's not looking for the right one. It's looking for all possibilities. And so it encourages much broader thinking. So to recap, step 1, interrupt your instinct, back the question back with another question. Have your response planned. In step 2, reassure and give praise if they have a great idea already. Alternatively, ask them what result they're after to shift their thinking to the outcome. And finally, ask for the options to get there. Once you've got all of the options available, you'll need to help the rep figure out which is the best foot forward, just by asking what are the pros and the cons of each idea until the best solution is decided upon. If you can make a change in how you deal with the daily roadblocks today, you'll begin to shift from problem solver to coach, and you'll notice immediately how much more confident your reps leave those conversations with you once they've identified what the best plan forward is for themselves. And it won't be long too before you start to feel the dependence on you fades away. And just imagine what extra time back could give you, how positively that could impact your results. Just remember, to coach isn't something we do. To coach is a way that we lead. Thanks for listening.